Hello and welcome to Nautical Institute webinar. This one's going to be really exciting because we've got a great report on technology. I'm joined here by a wonderful panel from around the world, literally Indonesia, Singapore, Sweden, even London. So on that note, hello everybody, thank you for joining. They'll probably shut their cameras off and be back a little bit later. I'll just do a brief introduction. The Nautical Institute, as many of you will know, is the international professional body. We primarily help our members with professional development, and we represent our members in various different fora around the world, such as the IMO, IALA, etc., etc. And the reason we do that is we share information amongst professionals, because we think that as we share information amongst ourselves, we can make better decisions. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, making better decisions. And what we're going to be talking about today is this extremely important issue of how technology is going to shape and change the lives of seafarers and the shipping industry itself. And we need to understand how that'll happen, why that's happening, so that we can all make better decisions around the use of technology. So this is an interactive webinar. We really want you to participate. Your cameras and your microphones will not work, but you can send in messages, type them in, press send. We will read everything. So please send it in, even if we don't get a chance to address it here live. We will read everything, and it's really important for us, not just the Nautical Institute, but the ITF and WMU, to understand people's perceptions and thoughts around technology. So please do participate. There are a number of handouts. The slides that are going to be presented are available as a handout. The report itself is available as a handout. So feel free to download those from the handout sections if you want. There will also be a number of polls. And speaking of polls, I'm going to do one right now just to have a start. I'm going to ask you what age group you're in. So this is very important because as we were putting together this webinar, it occurred to us that different age groups might think differently about the application of technology. So it'll be really interesting for us to know as we go through this and as we have this debate, what age group we're talking to. So I'm just looking at this. I'm going to close that and share it. So as you can see, we've got all age groups, but mostly middle age. So that'll be interesting when we do our analysis. So let me just stop that. Go back to the presentation. So we will do a number of those polls. When the webinar finishes, there will be a pop-up survey. It will only take 2 minutes. It's to get your views on what we've been doing and how we can improve our offering. So please take the time to do that. Everybody who attends will get a personalized certificate. Please feel free to, it will come a couple hours after the webinar as an attachment in an email, and you can use that for CPD records. This is being recorded, and the recording will be made available freely on our YouTube channel and on our Nautical Institute website. So you can feel free to watch it again if you missed anything and to share that with your friends. You are not alone. There are nearly 500 people registered for this. I expect a lot of questions to come in. So please, when you do your questions, please be as succinct as possible so that we can get to as many as possible. So this is the report that we're going to be talking about today. This is a report that has been produced by the WMU, World Maritime University, and it has been sponsored by ITF, the International Transport Workers Federation. It is a really important report. It is a really big report. There it is. But this is our future, folks. A lot of things are going to change very fast in the next 10, 20 years. This report takes us up to 2040, and Professor will talk about that. But do feel free to download it. It is free. So this is the panel that we have. But before we start, we have a little video for you. So this is only a few minutes, but hopefully it'll put things in context.
The world of work is facing unprecedented changes. New technologies, such as artificial intelligence, robotics, automation, and digitalization of the economy, along with changes in socio-political patterns and climate change, are shifting the nature of work. Since 2017, the World Maritime University and the International Transport Workers Federation have partnered on the Transport 2040 Future of Work project, a first-ever independent and comprehensive assessment of how the global transport industry will change as a result of increased automation and advanced technologies. Launched in 2019, the Phase 1 report, Transport 2040 Automation, Technology, Employment, provides an overview of the most significant global trends in automation and technology affecting transport workers. Key findings indicated that technological advances will be gradual and vary by region, and that workers will be affected in different ways based on their skill levels and the preparedness of different countries. Building on the insights of Phase 1, Phase 2 began in May 2020, looking specifically at technology evolution, the future skills and competencies, as well as occupational health and safety of seafarers. Technology evolution considerations include green, digital, and smart technologies as they relate to maritime autonomous surface ships, MASS, as well as conventional shipping. The results include a validated technology roadmap for the maritime industry that takes into consideration the short-term, mid-term, and long-term horizons. Phase 2 also identifies how automation and technology can reshape the future of work of seafarers, including their well-being and safety. 23 country profiles provide insight into the impacts of new technologies on seafarers, and 4 country reports provide an in-depth look at the impact of new technologies on the occupational health and safety of seafarers, including technostress at sea, the impact of alternative fuels on seafarers, investigation of the use of internet onboard ships, artificial intelligence, big data, and the potential risk of surveillance of seafarers. The Phase 2 report, Impact of Technology on Seafarers, identifies the required skills, training, and competencies for seafarers to maximize career opportunities in relation to the evolution of automation and technology, including MASS, the careers of maritime professionals, and how lifelong learning and upskilling can result in new career models characterized as flexible or boundaryless. Transport 2040, The Future of Work, utilizing interdisciplinary research to adapt to unprecedented changes in the world of work within maritime and related transport industries.
So it is my pleasure to introduce Professor Aykut OLCER, who is the Nippon Foundation Chair at the World Maritime University, and he is the Director for Maritime Research and Head of Maritime Energy Management. So, Professor, with no further ado, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, David. And good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished participants. Today, we'll be presenting the report we produced with the generous support of ITF. We call it Transport 2040, Impact of Technology on Seafarers. So I am the presenter today. However, the project was carried out by a big team, including myself and the 2 panelists here, and also many more in the faculty. Second slide, please. David. Yes, just one slide for WMU, who we are. And World Maritime University in short WMU, was established exactly 40 years ago by IMO to build capacity, especially for the previous slide, yeah. To build capacity for the people coming from developing countries and least developed countries. and also as well as also the small island developing states. And to educate future maritime and ocean leaders, one of the most prominent alumni is Mr. Kitaklim, and who is today the current IMO Secretary General. Next slide, please. Yeah. So today is all about the report we produce, and it is important to highlight the support, financial support came from International Transport Workers Federation, in short ITF. We are very much grateful to that support. It was not only the financial support, but also the intellectual support came from the ITF colleagues, including the one of the participants here today, Ms. Jacqueline Smith, and as well as Dr. Victor Figueroa, and they are also today with us. In addition to this, also, of course, the former retired person from ITF, Mr. Brian Orel, and also many more from ITF supported the project. So we are very much privileged and honored to work with ITF, and it was a fantastic support for us and for this very timely and pioneering work we carried out. The research we carried out includes 4 elements. The first thing we did in this project, we look into the technology evolution and the technology roadmap. So what are the trends and what is the evolution with regards to technology? And what are the future skills and competencies and the career opportunities for the seafarers? We also look into the impact of the technology evolution we produce with regards to occupational health and safety. And we look into 4 country case studies. And in addition to this, also by using an aggregative model, we also came up with some country maritime profiles. Next, please. And we launched the report last June, and 26th of June in Manila, during the Shaping the Future of Shipping Seafarers 2050 and the Seafarers Summit 2050. And we went there, and the colleagues was there, and all the relevant people especially the maritime industry were there. And President of the Philippines kindly delivered the opening remarks in this very timely event. So next one, please. Okay. So before understanding impact, we have to really understand, first of all, what kind of future is expecting us. So what is the current status as of today, and what kind of future we are anticipating? So if you look into today's current ship designs, of course, we have bulk carriers, we have LNG, LPG tankers, we have chemical tankers, we have cruise vessels and the warships. As you can see, spectrum is very wide. And also each ship type has different automation level, digitalization level, smartness level, and also the different mission requirements. Next slide, please. But yeah, can you please press yes all the way? One more time, David. One more time. One more time, yeah. So if you look into lecture, especially if you look into the future designs, anticipated future designs, future ships will be definitely greener compared to today. We are already talking about the renewable energy assistance ship propulsion, such as the integration and the employment of solar and wind energy on board vessels, right? And on top of this, ships are becoming more smarter with the help of AI, with the help of, let's say, advanced methodologies and the technologies, and ships are becoming smarter and more digitalized. So the question is, of course, we all know that ships will be more automated, and ships will be more digitalized, and ships will be smarter, with an expectation of ship needs to be safer and smarter and greener, right? So in this respect, the combination of all this expectation and combination of all these advancements, in the pillars I mentioned, which is very challenged to predict and foresee. So, for example, I am a person working in the area of decarbonization. I can tell you that, okay, 5 to 10 years time, the technologies will be using onboard vessels. So, okay, we will be using more wind assistance ship propulsion, which means that, for example, we will see more flattener rotors. And definitely because of the energy efficiency requirements, we will be seeing more hardware and software on board vessels and the onshore side to make the ships more efficient. But the $1 million question is really, what will be the combination of all these 10 years later and the 20 years later? That is not easy to foresee and anticipate. So next slide, please. So in this respect, one more, David. Yeah. So definitely future ships will be, as I highlighted a few times, will be more automated. Maybe let me open a parenthesis. And there is a kind of a perception, a wrong perception in the community, maritime community. We started to talk automation, let's say, for the last 1 decade. But even 20 years ago, ships were already automated. Now we are referring here automation level. So ships will be more automated. Ships will be smarter. We'll be using more intelligent system and technologies and their integration. And ships will be more digitalized. Not only the ships will be more digitalized, but also the administrations. There is a tendency, administrations also becoming more digitalized, and the shipping companies also becoming more digitalized. With an expectation from the society, ships needs to be more greener and safer, as well as more, let's say, environmentally friendly. If you look into IMO maritime teams for the last 5 years, interesting, the spectrum is a bit wide. And during the pandemic, IMO World Maritime Team was the seafarers at the core of shipping's future. But the 3 out of the last 5 year maritime team was more on the green side. And the one we are in today, 2023, is also MARPOL 50. Our commitment goes on. And the next year is the safety. As you can see, just last 5 years, we touch upon 3 aspects: greener aspect, safety aspect, and the seafarers' well-being. Which means that definitely the predicting and the foreseeing the future is a difficult task and a challenging aspect. Next slide, please. Okay, in this report, methodologically speaking, in this report, we employed a methodology called the International Labour Organization, ILO methodology, Skolkovo methodology, skills and the technology foresight, in short, STF methodology. And the details of the methodology in the report, but the highlights of the methodology is, the methodology requires some survey we conducted during this research. We conducted a survey for the trends. We conducted a survey for the Maritime Future Job Survey and the Seafarer Skill Surveys and the Maritime Leaders Opinion Survey. So these 4 survey was one of the main inputs for the research we conducted, especially for the technology roadmap, as well as the skills and competencies, future skills and competencies we came up. The STF methodology, depending on the workshop, we conducted 6 workshops, 2 workshops in situ at WMU with our students, and also the 4 workshops with the relevant stakeholders, and from NGOs to politicians, from shipping companies all the way to designers, from administration and all the way to port authorities. So next slide, please. Okay, future ship evolution. And as we all know, colleagues, the maritime industry is inevitable, right? Will continue to be the backbone of the global trade, connecting people and the commodities while keeping the global economy alive and growing. However, sector as a whole in a transition, including the maritime fleet, in its infrastructure and operational system will inevitably undergo substantial transformation to integrate digitalization and automated technologies. However, this transition to smart and automated ships is expected to be gradual. Future ships will be smarter and be facilitated by onboard wireless connection and digital connection via satellite and mobile communications. So we will see more and more integrated systems, and those integrated systems will be developed to provide ship owners and the crew with more information on operations and maintenance cost, reliability and health of the individual ships, as well as the data and logistics, life cycle, energy consumption, and emissions of a vessel. among many other aspects. So smart ships will be facilitated by sensors and other technologies that generate relevant data for analytics to assist the captain and the crew with a variety of issues, such as weather routing we are discussing today, or fuel consumption, virtual arrival, which is based on a communication between port and ships, and effective navigation and energy efficiency. Such future smart ships are called and termed techno-max ship. So the benefits of digitalization and automation to shipping will include lower operational cost and greater energy efficiency, while also protecting the environment by using green power. And in addition, ports will benefit from processing data to optimize arrival and departure procedures for vessels. Similarly, classification societies will be able to provide ship owners and operators with information on required maintenance and vessel health, thereby limiting downtime and maintenance costs. In summary, development towards fully autonomous shipping, we call it in short MASS, will most certainly be evolutionary rather than revolutionary. The next one, yeah. So in this project, what we did, in order to anticipate the future and to foresee the future, we identified the technologies. As of today, we are speaking. We identified 10 main categories, which are automation technologies and communication technologies, in short, connectivity, cybersecurity technologies, digital and intelligent information technologies, and zero-emission technologies, advanced sensors, robotic and drones, advanced materials, human-computer interaction, and last but not the least, human augmentation. Later, we decompose those 10 main technologies into 26 sub-technologies. Next slide, please. So under the automation technologies, basically, we decompose this main group into artificial intelligence algorithms, situational awareness and monitoring sensors, advanced actuators, shore control centers, in short SCC, advanced designs, and the system integrator. So just briefly, if we touch upon the automation technologies, the advances in automation technologies, particularly MASS, are motivated by social, environmental, economic drivers. From a social perspective, MASS is expected to offer a solution to the anticipated shortage of seafarers, improve the quality and safety of seafaring jobs, and facilitate gender parity. Environmentally speaking, MASS is expected to improve energy efficiency and reduce water and air pollution through digital and smart technologies. From an economic perspective, it is argued that less space required for crew cabins would save capital and operational cost, while also creating more space for cargo. Last but not least, under this category, additionally, it is expected that the MASS would improve supply chain optimization and resilience to provide smart and efficient operations. So next slide, David. In the next slide, we categorize the communication and cybersecurity technologies into internal communication links, broadband that enables terrestrial communication links, satellite and aerial communication, cybersecurity software and hardware. So advanced communication and is expected to improve a ship's operational efficiency. Communication technologies are key to the safety and reliability of operation, particularly in MASS. Various future technologies are set to enhance the connectivity of a ship, both internally and externally, and this might be a feature which seafarers can really benefit from. MASS and to a certain extent advanced connected conventional vessels communicate and exchange data and information with other ships. We call it ship-to-ship communication by sending data from shipboard equipment to shore center. We call it ship-to-SCC, and the cloud storage, while also receiving data and command information from the shore control centers. Next one, David. And digital intelligent information technologies, and we call it digitalization. We decompose them into IoT, Internet of Things, big data platforms and analytics, cloud services, blockchain, digital twinning, and 3D and 4D printing, and augmented reality and the virtual reality. So next one. Okay, that is the one actually which was challenging to predict. And for those of you who are familiar with the latest IMO GHG strategy, which was adopted in last July and this year. So according to this strategy, now we have more ambitious targets. And in order to be able to achieve all these ambitious targets, we have to do more basically. In order to be able to do more, we need silver bullet technologies. We have more advanced technologies. And to be able to meet all these targets by 2030, by 2040, and by 2050. As you might remember, the previous GHG strategy was referring to the phasing out all the GHG emission by the end of the century. Now it is the case, it is by the half of the century, by 2050. In this respect, it was not easy to basically decompose those technologies, but our classification was we compose this group into alternative fuels, electric propulsion system and hybrids, renewable energy, and exhaust treatment technologies, or the abatement technologies we call it, and alternative fuel bunkering. So next one, please. And also the other categories we came up, advanced materials, advanced sensors, robotics and drones. Especially advanced material is a hot topic at the moment, especially when it comes to energy efficiency. Sensors, we have been already using sensors for many years, but now we have more, say, advanced sensors to be able to provide us more with regards to data collection and its analytics. The next one, please. And human-computer interaction and the human augmentation. Yeah, and the details of all these technologies and their descriptions and all relevant details can be found in our report. Yeah, next one, please. Now, after the identification of these technologies and the sub-technologies, we basically conducted, as I highlighted already, the 6 workshops, 2 at World Maritime University, 4 with the maritime stakeholders. And if I just pass to you the statistic with regards to the stakeholder composition, it was the 30% technologists and 9% academia, and then 4% NGOs, 6% shipping companies, 14% shipping associations, ship owner association 12%, regulators 24%, and others were 3%. We did our very, very best to be able to reach all the relevant stakeholders in order to be able to accommodate their perspective. What you see in this slide is the technology roadmap, which is basically providing a roadmap for 3 time horizon: short term, between 2022 and 2026, and the midterm, 2027 and all the way to 2030, and between 2030 and the 2040, we call it long term. So in the left side of the technology roadmap is the technologies and the sub-technologies, and they are spread with regards to the time horizon I just mentioned. And the circles you see here and the size of the circle are attributed to the likelihood or the occurrence of this, or the probability of this technology occurrence. So smaller means small probability, and the bigger circle is the high probability of this particular technology likelihood. If you look into the right side of the roadmap, so basically you see the stakeholders, if you are able to follow my cursor, like technology manufacturers, classification societies, ship owner operators, port seafarers, and so on and so forth. And also we highlighted in the same roadmap the opportunities and threats, and we also basically spread them and spotted them with regards to the short term, medium term, and the long term. If we just pick one of these, for example, Seafarers, and if you look into just say 6 and 7, and 6 and 7 is green, is the means opportunity. So basically, in the long term, performance improvement by reskilling seafarers is a long-term opportunity. And if you look into the 7, emergence of new job profiles and the skills for seafarers is a long-term opportunity. What are the threats in the medium term? And if you pick 1, difficult to keep up with the technological developments. So basically, in the midterm, seafarers will be having some difficulty and a challenging time to cope up with the new technologies. So as you can see, it is a map, just 1 page, but it's more than 1,000 pages report. Next one, please. Okay, barriers and limitations. When it comes to barriers and limitations, so technology is there, and the technology evolution we also came up. Okay, what are the barriers and the limitation of those technology evolution and the roadmap we came up? So despite the benefits of adopting new technologies such as automation, there are equally many barriers that inhibit the broad integration of those technologies. Concerns about the safety of ships and other security risks, in addition to economic implications, are all seen as clear inhibitors. The public perception is that seafarers may risk losing their jobs, particularly if automations are fully adopted. Our research indicates, and the many research indicate, that technologies can be a double-edged sword. They can deliver great benefits, but at the same time may introduce both direct and indirect threats to maritime industries, states, and economies. So in this respect, empirically, opportunities and threats we came up. The opportunities and threats may positively, we call it opportunity, or negatively, when we call it threat, influence the decision of maritime stakeholders. The discussion on emerging opportunities and threats are therefore vital to the future of the maritime industry. In the next slide, we identify, I will not go through this table, we identify some opportunities with regards to some relevant stakeholders. So the identified opportunities are the benefits to ship owners, operators, and technology manufacturers in terms of operational efficiency and new business opportunities. Innovation promises reduce total costs and streamline transport transactions and supply chains. Seafarers would also benefit by gaining new skills, while maritime institutions, education institutions, could see an increase in their revenues. So in this respect, we highlighted the benefit benefits due to the advancement of the technology, which are listed in this slide. We foresee that the seafarers' infotainment, which is the combination of information and entertainment, and the seafarers' well-being can be improved. And the medical services at sea for seafarers can be also strengthened. And virtual and online seafarers training might be more accessible to the seafarers on board ships. And that's why definitely we see an improvement on that particular aspect. And interestingly, probably this is not something we haven't seen yet in any of the literature. So bullying and harassment cases for seafarers and their investigation cases can be also strengthened by using the technology. So it might help the investigation basically. And definitely it will reduce the administrative pressure on the seafarers. Maybe one example from the decarbonization, the area I'm working on, and MARPOL Annex 6 is the regulation dealing with the decarbonization and energy efficiency, always recommend the administrative burden needs to be not put on the seafarers, but instead of putting the pressure on the seafarers on board ships, the recommendation is always push this burden to the shore centers. So that's why technology really might help in terms of the reduction of this big administrative pressure on seafarers. Improvement of seafarer rest hours and well-being, definitely. This is also praised by many scholars in the literature. improvement of the safety of seafarers as well as the ships is definitely something we see a clear benefit. And at the same time, while we are doing all these things, technology should not have any adverse impact on seafarers. Maybe during the panel discussion, we can come back to this adverse impact and we can elaborate more on this. The next one, please. Yep, I already touched upon this, David, yes. Okay, now, so far, because of my background, and of course, because of the, let's say, the introduction to the whole research we did, I focus on the technology side. So based on the technology evolution and the roadmap we came up, and the whole team, we look into what will be the future skills and competencies and the career opportunities. And also what will be the impact of those technologies we anticipated with regards to occupational health and safety. So in this respect, we look into the technical and soft skills, and we identified some major gaps, moderate gaps, and the minor gaps with regards to the skills and competencies you see in this slide. And our conclusion, in summary, the major skill gaps we identified are basically with regards to digital and system analysis skills, as well as technical skills related to immature technologies, such as alternative fuels, which we do not know much about, or electrified propulsion systems, and the wind assistant technologies. Moderate skill gaps we observed are the ones with the technical skills related to existing and emerging technologies, such as energy efficiency measures, real-time monitoring system, and advanced navigational equipment, as well as with critical soft skills, such as critical and analytical analytics, active learning, communication, and the problem solving. Yes, next one, please. Yeah, regarding the technical and the soft skills, only thing I can say for this slide, of course, is self-explanatory. As you can see, in the long term, and the dot you see here, the big circle, we're referring to a long term, a technical skill needed by the seafarers. A few examples: competencies we need to handle alternative fuels, skills to operate, maintain real-time monitoring systems, or ability to operate ship operational softwares. And if you look in the right side of the slide, in the short, medium, and the long terms, there are some soft skills needed by the seafarers, such as management of personnel, time management, financial management, material management, and some skills with regards to sales, communication, and marketing, and quality control, safety awareness, and so on and so forth. So it's important to highlight in this slide the supportive role of soft skills in enhancing technical skills. So soft skills are the skills, let's say, tend to be ignored when it comes to seafarer skills and competencies. So that's why our report clearly highlighted that their supportive role when it comes to the gaining or reskilling the technical skills for seafarers. And in addition to this, soft skills are recognized as having greater importance than technical skills, and the soft skills will remain decisive for future seafarers and their job profiles. Soft skills are of importance no matter the time horizon, as we highlighted in this slide, whether in the short, mid, and the long term. Next one, please. Okay, future job opportunities. I'm just giving one example here, but we have more examples, maybe up to 20 in the report. And from a career perspective, future will offer opportunities for seafarers to switch from onboard jobs to the shore-based position. It is generally acknowledged that in the industry, ex-seafarers are the best candidates for many shore-based positions. However, with the technological development, the job profiles of shore-based employees will be affected, especially when including remote operation of onboard activities. As a result, shore-based employees may need reskilling. In conclusion, seafarers will remain in demand in the future. The recruitment of younger generation of seafarers will need to look beyond current demographics, which will be necessitated by or required by the growing need for digital skills to operate smart and green ships. The example you see here is in the future, we might be able to see a robot drone operator. And here is the job description and the relevant skills and the workplace. The next one, please. Okay, last two slides. I hope I have not over time. We also look into 4 specific countries: Denmark, Sweden, Panama, and Australia. In the Denmark case, we look into techno-stress. And one of the conclusions and the findings is there is no techno-stress related, and neither the national nor the international regulation to regulate this important aspect. Sweden, we look into safety aspects of the new technologies, such as the batteries and these advanced energy efficient technologies. Panama, we look into connectivity. And Australia, we look into big data and its analytics and analyzes big data analysis. And it's basically linked to infringement of the privacy of the seafarers. Yep, one more, I think, yeah. So the technology roadmap we came up is definitely a useful tool for all the relevant stakeholders in the industry, and which has a potential to support them with the identification and preparation for the future challenges. The technological transition in the industry will affect seafarers differently depending on their profession, rank, and the job function. Upskilling and reskilling are important interventions to provide support for seafarers in the light of the rapid change their working environment is set to undergo due to advancement of smart and green shipping. Widely affecting the future careers of seafarers, technological transition in the industry is expected to result in the emergence of a range of new kinds of jobs for seafaring professionals. There are 2 key messages from this research: the necessity of supporting seafarers with lifelong learning and career development, and the importance of ensuring that adaptation of advanced technology also promotes the health and the well-being of seafarers. It is therefore our hope all the relevant stakeholders in the industry will and might contribute to designing a maritime future equally beneficial to all by investing in education and training, as well as promoting safe working environments for seafarers. So thank you very much. I hope I finish within a half an hour time. I will be very happy to be part of the panel discussion and to be able to answer any questions might arise. Thank you.
Aykut, thank you ever so much. The report is fantastic. I particularly like the roadmap diagram. All the diagrams are fantastic, and they really help understand the impact of that. And that roadmap, you can spend hours looking at that roadmap. I can't even imagine how long it would have taken you to put together. So thank you very much for that. So in no particular order, I am going to introduce Professor Momoko Kitada. Momoko is the former seafarer herself, who now serves as a full professor and head of maritime education and training at the World Maritime University. And she leads the WMU's collaborative effort with the IMO. And I know that because sometimes when she's in London, she comes to visit us with a bunch of extremely interesting students who ask extremely interesting questions. And we're always pleased to have the visits from the WMU. So thank you very much for that. I think what I'm going to do as I introduce the various different panelists is, Momoko, I'll start with you. Can you just give a rough statement, if you will, of what this report means to you and the work that you're doing and how it will support that?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, David, and also thank you for giving us this opportunity to introducing this report. I think that this report is one significant meaning for me and our team is because that we are looking at the technology from not only the digitalization but also the decarbonizations. So this is like a lot of reports are talking either, but we are actually covering the both. And that's also another interesting thing is that we are also bringing the developing countries' perspectives. So a lot of reports are very much focusing on those technology advanced countries, but we are also very much incorporate the voices of all seafarers. In this regard, I would say that also we are looking at not only the officers, but also the ratings. So the impact of technology is not only the officers, but also the ratings and all the crews on the ferries and the cruise ships, which also operational side of the crews are also part of the reports. So I would just add that those 2 points that the readers can probably particularly read this report with their own interest. Thank you.
Excellent, Mamoto. Thank you so much for that. And so the next on my list is your close neighbor, Anas Alamush, who is a seasoned research associate with the World Maritime University with a PhD in maritime energy management, who has spearheaded numerous research initiatives and publications. And just for the audience, I'm going to leave these introductions fairly brief, but if you'd like to know any more about these individuals, just go online and you can find them online, LinkedIn, etc. So, Anas, just as an opening statement, what does this report mean to you and your work?
First of all, thank you very much for having me here today. I'm so pleased to be among all of you, and I'm also a previous seafarer, so I'm so happy also to address seafarers here in this webinar. The report means a lot to me because in the beginning I worked in the technology side, and the technology we identified all the future technologies relevant to all stakeholders, to ports, to shipping companies, to shipping operators, to regulators, to policymakers, shoreside, and on top the seafarers. So without addressing the technologies, we cannot reach to the impact to the seafarers. What's important in this report, and I need to highlight here, is that we established the roadmap of future technologies, not one dimension. It is multidimensional, and in participation from those stakeholders who really engage with the technologies, shipping companies, shipping operators, and even captains themselves. So that's what makes a difference in our report, that it is made by the industry itself. The future technologies, expectations, send signals to everybody, the training institutes, shipping companies, seafarers themselves, and talking about the future jobs, how the jobs will be displaced, how new jobs will be created. So it means a lot that, for all of us as seafarers, and I'm happy that we produce this piece of research for everybody. We are here today also to contribute and answer any questions in this area.
Okay, thank you very much. Could you make sure that you only have one microphone open in the room? We're getting just a little bit of feedback.
Patay ang mic natin. Patay ang mic.
Okay. The next person I'd like to introduce is Victor Figueroa, who is from the ITF, and he works on the Future of Work Policy Advisor. He works with unions across the transport mode represented by ITF, so really looking forward to maybe getting some insight into how other transport sectors take this technology. And he analyzes technology impacts and develops responses to them. So Victor, welcome. And what does this report mean to you?
Thanks, David. I think this is one of the best reports that I've seen, and I've been working on this area for 7 or 8 years. fundamentally because of the skills brought by the team that developed the report, but also because of the methodology, which is a very advanced methodology looking at experts from all of the different sectors. It even includes, a political risk assessment, which many reports looking at technology do not do. So it looks at, the issues created by geopolitical tensions and so on, which I think is really important. It's a very comprehensive report, as Professor Aykut was just saying, they cover all of the different areas within maritime, but at the same time, they're looking at technology from all different sides. They're looking at it from the perspective of the safety of crew, the well-being of crew, the training of seafarers, from the perspective of the employers and the operators as well. And so I think this is a very holistic approach, and it's one that is useful for everybody in the maritime sector. So I'd like to congratulate the team on this piece of work, and it's something that I think we should be trying to replicate in other sectors of transport as well, this kind of assessment. So there we go.
Thank you, Victor. And I agree. I think it's a fantastic report, and not only full credit to the WMU for doing it, but also, Victor, to the ITF for sponsoring it. I think that was a very important thing to do. And, organizations like ours, the Nautical Institute, we're using this report now. It's helping us make decisions. It's helping us justify where we're going to have investment in the future. And I think anybody can use this, whether it's an individual, whether it's a shipping company, whether it's a government, flag state, anybody can use this report. I think innately we all know that technology is moving forward, and everybody has a little bit of an idea about what that's going to entail. But having this as documented, good evidence allows us all to make better decisions. So yeah, again, well done to both of you. Right, we move on to Captain Nick Gardner. And I always tell Nick I want to be like her when I grow up. But and she says she's never going to grow up. Fair enough. So now Nick is a fantastic member of the Nautical Institute. She is currently sailing as a master on a medical ship down in Palau, Indonesia. She is when she's not sailing and doing a million other things, she is a marine technology analyst, and she writes for many publications, including for the Nautical Institute. Thank you very much, Nick. And she is also a very active member of the Nautical Institute's Automation Technology Advisory Group. And so welcome, Nick. And what does, as an active mariner and with a keen interest in technology, what does this report mean for you?
Thanks, David. And yeah, I definitely am not going to grow up. I think I'll have to read it another 3 or 4 times to even come close to absorbing the detail and working out how to put it into practice. So it's a really impressive piece of research. As a serving seafarer, I found the really important bits for me were the gap analyses on the skill gaps, because as a master, you're constantly training your crew and trying to get everybody to a higher level. And this, particularly for the younger crew members, this gives me a direction, to help them develop in their skills so that they'll be able to keep going, well into the future, which, as other documents have discussed, is often missed in STCW development. It's not enough to just meet the minimum standard. You have to actually keep moving forward, and this gives us a direction. So that's my primary takeaway on the first 2 readings. I'm sure I'll take a lot more out of the next 5 or 6.
Yeah, excellent, Nick. Thank you very much for that observation. And with the Nautical Institute being a body tasked with professional development, like I said, there's so many things in this report that we're going to be able to use, and to help develop and part of this discussion. And just a reminder to everybody, to please give us your questions. But a lot of this discussion I think we're going to have is about the training and who does it and who pays for it, et cetera, et cetera. So our last, but definitely not least panelist is Vice Admiral Ed Santos. Ed, as you might, people will guess from the title, comes from a naval background, but is now president of the one of the most important training centers in the Philippines, the Maritime Academy of Asia and Pacific, otherwise known as MOP. It is a fantastic school. I've had the pleasure of visiting Ed in the Philippines a number of times. It's an impressive campus, but what's even more impressive is the cadets. And you do a fantastic job. And even last week when I was in Manila, and we had the IMEC cadets doing a presentation, they were just renews your faith that the maritime industry will have that talent pool to go forward into this technology-rich world. So, Ed, again, just in a nutshell, what does this report mean for you and the work you do in developing young people?
Thank you very much, David, and thank you very much for inviting me. I'm certainly very honored and very happy to be here. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, got it. Okay, once again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, David, for inviting me, and a pleasant evening, afternoon, morning to all of you. Indeed, I echo the comments of almost everyone. Was unanimously given praises for the comprehensive, for the really in-depth and well-studied book that they have shown. And I think what we are doing at in the school and in the unions now in AMUSUG is we have already started giving seminars based on this. So our first seminars that we have given to our cadets is cybersecurity, which is very important to everyone, including the shipping companies and the people that they work with. And that's followed by MASS development, another seminar on decarbonization and data analytics. These are 4-hour seminars with some practicals on it. So that the students now, what we're trying to do is trying to allay their fears that the future is there, but you're going to be ready for this. Okay? It's important that you are ready for this. You're agile enough, be able to know what to read, what to study, what to look at in order for you to succeed. And that's essentially what we're doing to the cadets. And now I've also moved to the union. I think everybody knows we have the largest number of seafarers, and of course our union is also the largest. And we do pre-departure orientation seminars to our seafarers prior to their boarding, prior to their contract. And of course that includes the requirement of the government and the rules and regulations. But now I've added also cybersecurity, MASS, what the future looks like, and trying to allay their fears that there have been many fears. I talk to them and I say, and as you have correctly stated, what happens to us? We'll be out of work. And we keep assuring them that as long as you continue studying, being able to understand in your level what you're supposed to do, you're not going to be out of job. There's a whole range of job opportunities available to everyone, and I've seen that. You can see that in the roadmap. So there's really we're trying to make sure that we don't paralyze the seafarers, saying, it's not going to be for me anymore. I'm old. I can see that we do have some seafarers that are a bit older, but there's an opportunity for everyone. And that's what we're trying to do, because if you start working with seafarers, even before they go aboard, even if they see the new gas-induced engines, they're already scared. They're not going to improve because there's already a mental block. So what we're trying to do is trying to erase mental block and instead show them that, hey, you can do this too. You can all that needed is just download this YouTube module, and you understand. It's easy. And of course, what we're doing now, we're trying to put our seminars into animated form. I guess some of our young people really need animation because they get bored and they sleep if you give a lot of. So we're developing the animated version now, and I hope to be able to share that with the others as soon as we finish this. Of course, if there are others who would like to avail of our seminars, we can do that too, because this is for everyone. Seafarers move the world. It's not going to move if there are no seafarers. So, and we must have seafarers that are agile, that are always looking forward, and are saying that, yes, I can do this. I'm only up to this level. I'm only a rating, but yes, I can do this, and I can stay.
Yeah, that's excellent, Ed. Thank you very much. Professor Aykut, I just want to come back to you. I just want to nail this issue on the head that the Vice Admiral raised, and there's so many young people, wherever I travel in the world, I get asked the question, is this going to be me out of a job? Is this a dead-end career? Because once I have autonomous ships, there'll be no use for me. And now I can say, and I have been saying for years and years, that is not the case. But one of the things that this report allows me to do now is say, okay, it's not just me saying this. This is, this is good research. So when maybe you could just give us an insight when you did that research, how did you come to that conclusion, and how important is it for all of us to get that message out that technology is going to provide opportunities, not restrictions?
David, let's reply to this jointly. Yeah. Yeah, just that.
Thank you very much. I will take the privilege and answer this question. Actually, similar to any industry, maritime industry is facing a technology revolution. And this revolution in terms of the automation, digitalization, it is similar in freight transport, aviation, and maritime. In conclusion here, what we reached in our report, as long as everybody is taking the responsibility and training seafarers to the next phase of technologies, seafarers will not lose their jobs. There will be, yes, some jobs will be vanished, but new jobs will be created and displaced. And it's the responsibility for all the stakeholders appeared in our report to participate. We're not saying that only maritime institutes should be teaching seafarers for the new technologies, but shipping companies should contribute, shipping operators, policymakers, everybody. I give here an example I like so much. In September this year, I had the privilege to visit the port of Long Beach during the IAMI conference. And I have seen one terminal totally automated. And we asked about the laborers that used to run that terminal before, and the ports, due to their corporate social responsibility and their ethical responsibility, they took all those laborers and trained them to do some other new jobs like battery maintenance, battery charging, softwares. So no one lost their jobs. They just shifted their jobs to something else. So it's a responsibility, inclusion for everybody in the maritime industry to keep advocating the training of seafarers in order to help them to have new jobs, adapt to the new trends in technologies.
Thank you very much, Anna. Momoko?
Yeah, we'll continue. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'll just add something very shortly. Maybe what I can say is that also the reports highlighted that the new value change. So the industry really need to adapt to that this transition is actually opportunities rather than the threats. So therefore, but it means that also our traditional values have to change, and we have to really accept and also transform the industry. And some of the kind of the value change that we highlighted in the report is, for example, the new value for seafarers, like it used to be that the seafarers are often, criticized that the polluters at sea, like oil spills and all these problems are often highlighted by the media. But then now the seafarers are the promoter of decarbonization. So it's much more positive. And they are also become more from the invisible to visible, because their role, the jobs will be also shifted to much in a shore-based. So that means that the seafarers used to be, nobody really knows that what they're doing, but their jobs will be more visible. So those kind of different kind of value change has to be adopted through these transitions. And then one more thing is that basically, yes, there is a training needs for based on this skill gap, but it is also more like a coordination. So everybody has some responsibility to take over this new skill reskilling and upskilling. So, for example, definitely the industry has a lot of room for improvement. For example, investing those talents and skills and competencies, but it's not like they are alone. For example, they can align their reskilling and upskilling strategy to the national strategy, because the country also doing some digital skills promotion initiatives strategies. So the kind of coordinating with the different partners so that their action is not just a standalone, but it is a kind of incorporation. So it is a kind of we have to really think out of the box to just not like doing individually, but more like using these partnerships to improve the efficiency of the reskilling and upskilling. So thank you very much.
David, one more thing, please, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, my colleague Dr. Anna highlighted a very important aspect. Maybe it is important to elaborate more on this. I have been highlighting all the time during my presentation, future is not easy to anticipate and foresee. So basically, technology is advancing very fast, but everything is left behind. Regulation, the MET institution, and so on and so forth. So in this respect, MET institutions are let's say a little bit has low momentum to respond to all these fast changes. But the future is the combination of not only the MET institution, but also the trainings provided by the technology providers, and also the seafarers will be having more and more online and virtual training on board seafarers. So in this respect, future is not very much scary when it comes to training because of this combination of all this training aspect. But again, one more time, technology is so fast, developing so fast that unfortunately we are not able to catch up.
Thank you very much. And yeah, let's just think about that a little bit. Vice Admiral Santos clearly told how he is working to educate the cadets, with a basic understanding of technology and a good foundation for going forward. But then we heard from Nick saying that as a master, she's trying to train her crews to keep up with technology. The Nautical Institute is a membership organization. Oh, didn't I mention that before? We're a membership organization. Don't become a member. But one of the big tasks that we have is how do we help our members learn? In fact, that group, the Autonomous Technology Group that Nick is a member of, one of the big things that they're doing is churning out articles and webinars about technology. So Nick, I'm just going to come back to you. You do a lot of work in technology. You've obviously educated yourself to have that technology knowledge. What are some of the best ways that individuals can help develop themselves in this field?
That's a really good one. Unfortunately, I think the only way to become comfortable with technology is to actually get in and use it. And too many people are scared of doing that in case they hit the wrong button. So actually just getting technology that you're willing to hammer at, and if you break it, Google how to fix it rather than calling somebody else. That sort of gets you to the idea that you're probably not going to blow up or sink anything, and then you can gain confidence from there. Apart from that, there's some fantastic free courses. So I fell into this down a rabbit hole of wanting to understand machine learning. So doing a course in that, and then realizing I needed to learn programming, and doing a course in that, and then just following the chain until I got to something where I felt like, okay, I've got a grip on this. And that gives you the background to kind of understand how your equipment is coming to the conclusion and spitting out the result that it's got. If you can understand how it gets from whatever the input is to whatever the output is, and understand it as a system rather than as a thing that's telling you there's a ship over there. Sorry, that's not a very articulate explanation, but that was my route in.
It's great, Nick, and sometimes that's just what you got to do. And there is, I see my kids and some of the young people that they can learn so much from a good YouTube video or free online courses. And at the Institute, we provide a whole range of free online courses for our members. Now, I'm just going to do a little poll here. We've talked about what types of training you can do, and obviously you can do classroom training, you can do a degree, you can do free training. The existing MET community have to start producing more technology courses, but who's going to pay for this? And I'd be really interested to get your feedback. Is it going to be governments that should take the onus of this training? Is it the shipping companies themselves? In his presentation, Professor Aykut mentioned that manufacturers of hardware and software providers should put more effort into helping people learn. Or are we going to just leave it to the seafarers themselves and say, pick yourself up, guys, it's your responsibility. If you want to drive a ship in the future, you've got to arm yourself in this knowledge. So I think we got most of the votes in. I'll just leave it a few more moments. Okay, so there we go. So it's the shipping companies that most people are relying on to do that. So Ed, from a funded training college, what does that say to you?
Thank you, David. I know that a lot of responsibility is given to the shipping companies to do that, and they have their own in-company training. However, my feeling is that the unions, the schools, and in collaboration with the shipping companies should be able to alleviate or to make things easier and available to the seafarers. To me, the seafarers should not pay for their own training. They must have the motivation and the urge to learn some more, but they should not take it off the bucket and choose not to pay for it. So this has to be provided by a combination of both the unions, the schools, maybe a little from the government. I know that there are some rich, developed governments who really provide incentive for their seafarers to study some more, but that's not really that does not really happen to everyone. So there's still the biggest beneficiaries of all of this improved learning and training will be the shipping companies. So it should be a collaboration. The schools can help. I think for the first time 2 years ago, or yeah, before the pandemic, there was a meeting with the IAMU, the Association of Maritime Universities, and ICS. That was the first time that ever happened. So I mean, we've been in seafaring for a long, long time. It's only the first time that the ship owners and the schools are getting together, and everybody's saying, "Yeah, it's good. We should go together." But we should really be doing something about it, not just simply talking.
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Victor.
Yes, David. Yeah, I agree with what Eduardo was just saying. I think one of the issues is that the training needs to be specific to the technology being used, right? And one of the issues with digital technologies is that often the software or the artificial intelligence is provided by a third party, and then it's forgotten about. And it makes it very hard to actually then feed back on the safety issues that may be arising from the uses of those technologies or any particular problems that may have arisen. So there needs to be a connection made between the software providers, the technology providers, and the operators and the seafarers. But obviously it's not up to from our perspective at least, it's not up to the seafarers themselves to learn these technologies. You know, there's a responsibility on the part of operators and technology providers to ensure that the workers are well trained, familiarized, given time to familiarize themselves with these technologies, and therefore able to work effectively for their employers in future.
Yeah, thanks, Victor. That's absolutely right. We're getting a lot of questions in, so let me pick some of those out. One question is from Rafet, and I think this is go to you, Aykut. He says, are there any changes to design of new ships will have an impact on the human operations? Do we have an assurance that we will properly understand the impact and changes on safety of operations? So this is the human-centered design. If we're building, new high-tech ships, are we building them with the human in mind, or are we just looking at the machine?
Okay. Yeah, actually, thank you very much. Actually, he's my ex-colleague, Emek from Strathclyde. Yeah, thank you very much for the question, Emek. So when it comes to ship design, we talk about in naval architecture, we call it design for X paradigm. We call it the FX paradigm. For example, design for energy efficiency, design for ergonomics, and design for basically any other discipline. So similar to the challenge I mentioned in my presentation, it's not easy to combine all these X paradigm in one design. So you can come up with a good energy efficient design, but this design might not be the safe design. Or you might improve the safety, but it might increase the concern about the energy efficiency. One of the best trade-off example we give always in the class is, for example, the ship breadth, right? Ship breadth you increase, you have more fuel consumption, but you have a better stability. So in this aspect, we are very much trying to do our very, very best to do a bridge design ergonomically good for the people and the crew on board. But at the end of the day, with the changes we are having today, now future designs, future bridge, first of all, will there be a bridge for the next 15 years later? So in this respect, it is really not easy to answer this question. Again, everything comes to the future. The combination of the technologies, combination of the expectations. Thanks, David.
Okay, thank you very much. And Victor, I'm just going to do a poll that you had suggested, and this is on a concern. Now, the interesting thing on this is that in this report, you spend a fair bit talking about a subject that I've only just started to recognize, which is technostress. What is it? Why is this an important question, Victor?
Thanks, David. I mean, I think it's an important question fundamentally because technology creates the context for safe working conditions, either by directly conditioning them or indirectly affecting them. So it's really important to know what seafarers, what people working in the industry think about the safety implications of technology and make sure that they are considering these issues when introducing them. So, you know, in the report, it talks about alarm fatigue, for example, in one of the case studies. There's also issues relating to isolation at work, you know, through if you reduce crew numbers at sea, for example. And there's obviously a link to stress when you haven't had time to familiarize yourself with new technologies or haven't had adequate training. And then there's the safety issues of working alongside highly automated technologies, perhaps robots and so on. So this is a key issue. How are we going to introduce technology while still protecting lives and protecting decent work at sea? So I think that's why we were very interested to see what the audience would think of this.
Right. Well, you have unveiled that people are very concerned. What does that mean to you?
Well, it highlights that people are aware of some of these issues, and I think it's really heartening that that this is so, because once people are aware of a problem, it means we can start working together, all of the stakeholders in the industry, to start working out how we can move forward in order to provide the technology that's needed to boost productivity and to boost trade at sea, but while doing it in a safe way that provides training and other opportunities for seafarers as well.
Thanks very much, Victor. Just going back to some of the our audience questions, we have a question here from Soprano, who says technology should be supported by appropriate training. How will this impact STCW? And it's broad in the definition, but may not be very precise. So STCW, Momoko, I know that you do a lot of work at the IMO. How do you see the wonderful roadmap, the articulation of the challenges in training? How does that fit in with the revision that's happening with STCW at the moment?
Yeah, thank you very much for the questions from the audience, and I really appreciate that too. And then, of course, we always referring back to the STCW, and then we consider this is a minimum requirement. And as Professor Oja already highlighted, that technology is advancing very quickly, and training has to catch up, but then regulation also doesn't come up. What I can see now is that it is also a little bit related to what Victor just mentioned about the safety issues. So it used to be that the IMO's division just work, okay, related to the STCW. This is basically the HTW, of course, under this supervision or management or coordination of the MSC Maritime Safety Divisions. But I think it is increasingly this collaboration is needed or cooperation is needed. So it's not just only HTW, the human element and the training and the watchkeeping subcommittees matter, but it's really have to go back and forth to really the different division has to work together in order to make sure that the training is contemporary and necessary for the seafarers, so that safety has to be assured when it comes to the training, and also increasing collaboration with the MED, Maritime Environmental Division as well, which is also talking about the decarbonization part. So how we train the seafarers in the promotion of decarbonizations. So it's actually becoming even more complex, and that potentially delaying some of the processes, but I think the member states are working really hard to push this forward. One of the things that I see the challenge is that we often cannot, how can I say, abandon the already existing kind of traditional competence components. We still keep everything carry over because we still have the conventional ships, while we are also foreseeing these modern ships. So it's becoming quite heavy as the training components become more and more to add. So I think this is one of the biggest concerns, especially from the ITF perspective, so that I can see that ITF is also really ascertain to make sure that the new training components should not really burden the seafarers. So it is a really like, how to incorporate this new training components into the existing ones, where we can actually minimize or maybe even combine the different components to make this efficient and effective training. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nick, we're getting questions in here about people on board dealing with automation. Now, I know at the Nautical Institute, we're not particularly worried about mass at this time. That's probably going to be a long way off having fully autonomous ships. Now, there are some out there, but they tend to be small and doing research and things like that. But the big challenge, I think, from the Nautical Institute's point of view, as you know, working on the committees, is the relationship between people on board and more automation that is brought in. We already have unmanned engine rooms, we have the cargo monitoring systems. How do you see that relationship between people and the machines working, both in design and the training?
I'll take those separately. I'm actually cautiously positive about the idea of more automation. Because if we look at it, I've never met a professional mariner who said, I want to go back to the days before autopilot and where we had manned engine rooms 24/7. We all enjoy not having to stand at the helm for 4 hours a watch. So automation is not necessarily bad, and I would be desperately grateful for anything that can automate the repetitive parts of the paperwork. And that's the type of thing that I can see automation helping with in the short to medium term. In the longer term, I'm more skeptical, and I'm not skeptical of the automation. I'm skeptical because I'm going to be quite honest here. I don't trust shipping companies. I've seen them drop technology on board and either not provide training, tell us to go and do a computer-based training in our off watch and not included it in our not noted in our rest hours, or just have completely inadequate, or they make you spend your leave running around maritime colleges trying to do mostly pretty decent courses, if I'm fair, but that's the time when you're supposed to be recovering from being on your ship. So that's where I think the rough parts are going to be for seafarers, is trying to find that balance between actually having the training to safely monitor your automation equipment and, actually having time to be a human being with a life and get some rest in between your watches. And I haven't seen that dealt with very well in the past. So that's my concern for the future.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Nick. And, this is a big issue that the Nautical Institute is working on. The time is ticking out. Momoko, I think this one might be for you. A question from Alice. Did your report look at anything to do with how technology will help inclusivity or diversity on board ships?
Yes, thank you for that. The questions because this is actually a very important questions to address. So I have this background of gender studies in many years, and from this perspective, I'm seeing very little increase of women at sea, women professionals at sea, and also in general in the maritime industry. And then now suddenly, thanks to the technologies, everybody starts thinking that, this is opportunities for women, more women to work in this industry. But the logic is not that simple, because it really requires a value change that I already mentioned earlier, that whole culture has to change, because it is a cultural issues rather than a strategic or investments. It is also related to the willingness of like Captain Nick just mentioned, that how the shipping company wants to support and consider the social sustainability of the industry. So it's more like not like leaving the technology let go and increase the women or diversity. It has to be strategic and it has to be planned. It has to be designed, every different components to make sure that it is an attractive industry and also appealing, and it is safe. This is really prosperous. It is really attractive industry. But this message has not been sent at all, and without this any efforts or actual tangible actions, just simply expecting more women to come to this industry, for me, I have a big doubt. But there are a lot of those kind of voices exist. But I hope that we can promote this importance of strategic inclusion of diverse workforce and the talents into the maritime industry. That I think we can work together with the Nautical Institute and also the ITF and also the MET institutions like MAP and also the seafarers themselves, like represented by the Captain Nick today.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. And I mean, if I know the percentage of women at sea are still very low, but I was thrilled when I was out in Manila last week to be sitting with 3 young female chief engineers. And I don't know whether they were your lot, but they were very impressive, very professional, and very positive about working in the industry. So that was a delight to see. We are out of time. I know that there are a lot of questions that we didn't get to, and I'm sorry about that, but we will be looking at all those questions to help us move forward in this area with your feedback. Just to reiterate that this report is free. It is available either online, you can use that QR code, or it's available as a download. I will also just remind everybody that the Nautical Institute is a membership organization and that you should all be members of the Nautical Institute. We have branches all over the world that hold physical events, so you can go and you can network. But otherwise, we do aim to help everybody learn, we share ideas, and we hope that that helps everybody, both members and non-members, make better decisions in the industry. So on that note, I will thank all of our panelists. Thank you very much from all over the world. I know some places is later than others. And I would like to thank all the people in the audience for your feedback and your interaction and for your interest in both this issue and in the Nautical Institute. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for your wisdom, and goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.